Korean goshiwons. A goshiwon is a tiny, rentable, dormitory-style room found in South Korea. Korean goshiwons range anywhere from 4 to 6 square meters and cost about $180 to $300 a month, and usually don't require any deposit money, which makes it one of the cheapest options of accommodations in Korea. Goshiwons are usually equipped with a bed, a desk, a fridge, some storage for clothing, and a small bathroom. In my opinion, the bathroom is one of the most interesting parts because it's technically just a shower cabin, and within the shower cabin, there's a toilet, so everything gets wet. There is also a shared kitchen as well as shared laundry machines. In the kitchen, there's usually fresh rice, kimchi, instant ramen. Some places offer instant coffee and tea as well. Mine said that on the website, and I've never seen any coffee or tea in the kitchen. All of those things are usually included within the monthly rent. Goshiwons first appeared in the 70s, I think, and were initially intended for students to be used for studying. Now, the sad thing is that more and more people in Korea are dependent on them as permanent or long-term housing because of how expensive and inaccessible the rent in big cities has become. I wanted to share my personal experience living in a Korean goshiwon because me and my friend are renting it long term. So far, I've lived in 2 different ones here in Seoul. So me and my friend, we moved to South Korea in August last year. Before coming here, we found a goshiwon in Seoul and made a reservation online. We decided to stay in a goshiwon because of its cheap price, and after getting to know the country a bit more, we thought we would still have the flexibility to move to another place if we wanted to.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, where would you like to go?
Yes.
7. Is it correct?
Yes.
Taxi driver, please.
Taxi driver.
Taxi driver, please.
When we arrived at our accommodation, the owner of the goshiwon told us that our reserved rooms were no longer available due to water damage. So basically, she forgot to tell us before coming to Korea. Since she forgot, she then kindly helped us to get to another goshiwon close by. She told us that she knows the owner of that other goshiwon. She told us that it's cheaper. Since we didn't have any plan B and were basically running out of time, we decided to trust her. We were able to have a quick look into the rooms and then proceeded to book the rooms for 1 month. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you images of our first day. I'm not trying to dramatize or exaggerate the situation. However, I also don't want to romanticize it. Realistically, the place was not clean. For the price point though, you can't really expect much more, and since this is all we were able to afford, and on the contract it said that there's no possibility for a refund, we tried to make the best of our situation, so we went to the nearest convenience store, bought cleaning supplies, and cleaned the whole place ourselves. We actually ended up staying for 2 months total because after applying for our ARC, we weren't allowed to change our location of our housing while the process was happening. An accommodation this cheap obviously comes with its downsides. It is tiny, which forces you to be as clean and organized as possible. Essentially, I am sleeping, living, studying, and using the bathroom all in one tiny place.
Ich muss ein bisschen Urwäsche zu mir Brust. Muss ich da so viel aufstellen? Ich würde das glaube ich als Outfit anlegen. Schon, gell? Ist ein Statement. Das ist pur im Weg, Mann. Du musst da rein. Geh deine Finger holen. Mann, jetzt lachen wir die Tür um. Ich hab so wieder gehabt. Mach die Tür gerade wieder zu. Ich bin da rein. Bist du mir böse, wenn ich es verkacke? Nein, aber weißt du, verkacke es auch nicht.
My goshiwon didn't come with an outside-facing window, so there was no sunlight whatsoever. I tried to spend as much time as possible outside of my room. However, in the first week of me living in Korea, I got sick and had to stay at home. And after that, when school finally started, the first week of classes had to be held virtually due to a corona case in class. As a result, I spent most of my time inside my goshiwon, and I didn't get to see any sunlight for about 2 weeks, and my dramatic ass thought that I was about to go insane. That was news. In the making of this video, I actually got sick again, and I had to stay at home for like a week. And the only time that I was able to see sunlight was when I went out to get food, which was like 5 minutes. And that sucks. Now, obviously, when you're sick, you don't have another option, but if you can, try to spend as much time as possible outside of your room. That's it. Goshiwons are not soundproof. You can hear everything.
Happy lifestyle.
Tabea, wie hat dein Haus geheißen?
Puderli.
In both goshiwons, I ended up with snoring neighbors. I have to sleep with earplugs on, and sometimes even with my earplugs on, I can still hear my neighbor snoring. Because it's tiny and without an outside-facing window, it gets hot really fast. There are goshiwons that have an AC that you can individually adjust. However, our rooms do not. You can either open the AC or close it. It would always turn on for 40 minutes and turn off for 40 minutes. Basically, my room was either freezing cold or unbearably hot and humid. We finally moved to another goshiwon. We were able to view this place properly before booking it, which I highly recommend you doing. Our rooms were fine, however, our first night here, we already faced the first problem. Tabea's room had some sort of problem with the plumbing. Her room started to smell so bad that it was almost impossible to sleep in there.
Und wir haben eine Kakerlake gefunden. Was, wenn es noch mehr Kakerlaken? Ich lasse so fest stinken.
Also ich glaube, wir haben das zweite Depot.
Da hat ein Koffer drauf. Die zwei kleinen Koffer. Dann holen wir die Matratze bei mir. Und du musst einfach unten dran schlafen. Oh mein Gott, das ist ein DIY-Doppelbett.
Ich glaube, du musst dann unten schlafen, weil ich bin die Lichter.
Du schlafst heute bei ihm im Zimmer.
Wieso?
Das fair ist fair. Wieso ist das fair? Ich bin beide gleich leid. Ich glaube schon von Papa.
So, we did ignore the instance with the cockroach because we thought maybe it just happened to get in through the window. And then... Here's the thing. Insects, they get into the house sometimes. Depending on where you live, those insects can be smaller or bigger. For me, for example, whenever I visited my family in Mexico, there would be huge cockroaches and other insects that would get into the house. You step on them, move on with your life. However, there are certain cockroaches that are invasive, and once you get them in the house, it's usually super hard to get rid of them. So I was ready to move. I was so done with life. But then my previous neighbor was a compulsive hoarder, and I do not mean this in a condescending way because that person obviously struggled with their mental health. His entire room was filled full of trash and food waste to the point where there was no floor space. So it turned out the cockroach problem was coming from that room. Ever since he moved out, and that's a couple of months ago now, I've never ever encountered any cockroach again.
Wir haben gerade eine Bekanntschaft gemacht mit einer, die in unserem Goshiwon lebt. Sie hat gerade durchgekommen und hat uns einen Topf vorbeibringen. So herzig sie das Topf geschenkt. Und ich sehe so flüchig aus. So müssen die Tür aufmachen.
And that concludes my experience living in a goshiwon in Seoul. I still live in one, and I will be staying in this place for quite some time. If you get to come to South Korea on a very low budget and are interested in staying in a goshiwon, just do some research. If you're here and have the option, go and see the places yourselves. Once you found a decent place and got used to it, it doesn't feel different than a college dorm. So it's not terrible. It's just that there are good options, but there are also many bad options. So just be careful. Although living in a goshiwon is no luxury at all, the fact that I get to travel and go to language school and learn a new language and live in such a cool city and travel, although on a low budget, I am very grateful for the experiences that I get to have. So if you ever end up staying in a place like this, just spend as much time as possible outside, explore the city. There's so much to see even on a low budget. Spend time with friends, eat delicious food, explore the culture and the language. Even though it was hard at the beginning because of the many problems that came with the places that we stayed in, I'm still so thankful to be here, and we did have more good experiences than bad ones. So, that's it.
Ich mache in ein Zinzilbanken. Aber dann muss ich meine Beine rasieren. Und dann könnten wir auch so ein Kopftüchchen anlegen. Schau, Tabea, schau, das wäre so witzig. Ja, das wäre echt witzig. Schau, Tabea, schau, wie glücklich sie aussehen. Wir wären dann auch so glücklich.